I understand your Packers had about as good a night yesterday as Arnold Schwarzenegger did. He was literally in a car accident yesterday.
What?
Yeah. You didn't know?
No.
Yeah, Arnold Schwarzenegger was gonna, you know exactly when we filmed this. He was in a car accident yesterday. He was fine, but I saw a picture of it. His SUV is half on top of someone else's car.
And he's okay?
He's okay.
Other driver is okay?
Other driver might not be. I heard they were bleeding profusely from the head.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh. So the Packers crashed and Arnold crashed.
Yes.
Well, why don't we talk about Total Recall?
Why the not?
Rich, you wanted to talk about Total Recall, and it's about damn time.
Yeah, I figured, you know what? People don't talk about Total Recall enough. You think about the classic Verhoeven science fiction films, and everyone talks about RoboCop and Starship Troopers.
I disagree. I think a lot of people have love for Total Recall. I did as a young man, and then I rewatched it, and I thought as an adult that it's f***ing terrible.
Is that where you're at?
No, I'm lying. It's one of the greatest movies ever made.
Okay.
Are you kidding me?
You might have shocked me. I don't know.
Oh, hell no. I loved it even more. And you know what? Because you asked me to, I actually watched the 2012 Total Recall.
Do you want to talk about it?
There's nothing to talk about.
And this will not be a compare and contrast show because they are incomparable. But I wanted to watch it out of curiosity. You said it's boring and terrible. And I thought mostly the same thing. Total Recall 2012 is filled with lots of attractive, pretty people, lots of nice-looking scenery.
It's slicker than the classic Total Recall. 20 years later, special effects came a long way. The sets look fantastic, but it has no vision.
And the 1990 Total Recall, while rough around the edges, not a perfect movie, a little dated, a little clunky, is like that ugly actor that's filled with charm and charisma, but is far more weird and interesting.
You're watching a Paul Verhoeven film.
What you been feeding this thing?
Blondes.
Total Recall is based on
A Philip K. Dick story.
with in the tradition of Philip K. Dick stories, it has a clunky, weird title.
We can remember it for you wholesale.
Correct.
Which is an amusing title, but it doesn't roll off the tongue.
No. Neither does Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, the original title for Blade Runner. So Hollywood says, no. We got to change these titles. And I think they're short story. I don't know a lot about Philip K. Dick.
I haven't read it. It's only like a 23-page story, so it's really short.
Yeah.
I guess that's why all of the adaptations of it have been radically different in ways.
And then, he wrote Minority Report.
The Man in the High Castle.
Man in the High Castle. A bunch of different sci-fi stuff. He died relatively young,
53.
Yep.
But themes of identity and reality and what's real, what is not real. Also, I think made in 1999, there was Total Recall 2070, which was a Canadian TV show supposedly based on Total Recall that had more in common with Blade Runner, which I've never seen, but I know a little bit about. There's like a lot of androids in that show.
Watching the 2012 Total Recall, I got visually, obviously, very Blade Runner-ish. So I was wondering, there are the almost identical beats of 2012 Total Recall in 1990. Has the dream with the other woman, wakes up, he has a fake wife, he has the friend that works at the job, except for the grander plot, which we'll discuss. It's very different.
Yeah.
Mars colony versus
Robots invading Australia.
Is Australia the colony?
Yeah.
Okay, that makes more sense. I kept getting confused. I'm like, Australia was a colony when it first started, so it should be the colony. But I kept thinking they were talking about the European Union as being the colony. I was confused.
No.
Either way, there's a tunnel that
goes through the core of the Earth.
core of the Earth.
Which is both cool and utterly silly. But whatever.
We'll get into that a little bit because I liked that as a set piece and as schlock, but it felt out of place in such a bland science fiction movie for frat guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I liked that
Yeah.
concept. I thought it was silly enough.
Yeah.
So it had all those hallmark moments, and I didn't know if the 2012 version was just kind of recycling them from the 1990 one. If you go back and you read the short story, I Can Remember It For You Wholesale, is it just like completely fucking different, like the Starship Troopers novel, where it's like, has nothing to do with bugs and space. It's, you know, I don't know.
I should have tracked down a copy to read it because I only found out last night it's only 23 pages long.
Right.
So it was one of those things that was like published in a science fiction magazine.
Sure.
Yeah.
It'd be
yeah.
curious to, I should have done that, you should have done that.
We're terrible. We're terrible at our job.
We're terrible at our jobs, which is fine. Someone out there has read it and they're yelling at the screen going, yeah. But either way, somehow they got this storyline from it. A man goes to a place that implants false memories and it leads to an action-adventure spy thriller.
It took them over a decade to get it right. I guess they'd been trying to make it since the 70s.
Oh, really?
Dan O'Bannon took a crack at the script.
Writer of Alien.
And writer of Alien. And they figured out like this is going to be way too expensive to film in $1970. So he made Alien instead. Originally, a couple of the people who were going to star in it at various points, Richard Dreyfuss was going to be the lead at some point. And also I heard Patrick Swayze. Richard Dreyfuss, Arnold Schwarzenegger, day and night.
Yeah, it's an interesting, Schwarzenegger provides that charm element.
Thank you.
Well, see, there's two different ways to do this because the premise of Total Recall, there's like two gimmicks in the movie. There's the kind of like the surface level, this man, normal everyday Joe goes to a business that implants like vacation memories into your mind, and they're gonna give him this fake memory that he's actually a secret agent. And when they go to implant the memory, they discover, oh no, he really is a secret agent. And so it's like the main character is a person who is essentially fake. Dennis Quaid never really existed. He's really secret agent Hauser. Or
Douglas Quaid.
Douglas Quaid. Did I say Dennis?
You did. It's
Let
all
me,
right.
let me just redo that.
It's staying in.
It's staying in? All right, that's fine.
You know it's staying in.
Yeah,
It's okay, though. You're known for it. It's your trademark.
it is. It is.
As long as you didn't say Randy Quaid.
Hashtag PMC. Police media corruption. Ba-dum!
Your two stories are a secret agent man who's going on this memory erasure adventure, or it's all a dream, and he's sitting in this chair for the whole movie, having a seizure and about to die.
Now, I wanted to ask you, because there's a bit of ambiguity here. I want
to analyze this.
I have a thought. And I never thought of it before, because I haven't watched this movie in a while. Can I tell real quick? We're going to get back to this. I want to tell you about the first time I saw this movie. Mm-hmm. Let me guess. You're not who took you to the theater to see it.
Oh, yeah.
Monkey Man, I'm gonna go get your dinner. Hold on, hon. Take it easy, baby. Take it easy. There's your dinner. Be polite now, Monkey Man. Here's your silver thing.
Nobody cared if I saw an R-rated movie.
You're a year older than me.
Uh-huh.
My dad took me and a friend to see this. 1990. I think I was 11.
Yeah, About right.
And my dad's, oh, an action movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger. And I was like, yay! And nobody cared back then. And there weren't too many people in the theater, believe it or not. And there was a scene, the scene, when Arnold is going up the escalator and Michael Ironside is trying to kill him. And everyone dies, and Arnold, the guy in front of Arnold just gets shot up, and Arnold uses him as a body shield.
Oh, he's just a big meat shield. Just this innocent guy who's just riding this escalator, minding his own business.
Yes, he is the master of disgusting bloody squibs. And when I saw I almost threw up.
Like when you were a kid?
Yeah. When I watched all those bloody squibs blowing up everywhere, I got sick.
Oh, I fucking loved it.
It was just the mood I was in. I'm a little weak. I'm a little kind of a weakling man when it comes to blood.
You were 11.
And I was 11, but I get a little like queasy around blood, and I was like, and I was like, why am I watching this? There's not a lot of like gratuitous nudity. There's the three-boobed lady and they're obviously fake boobs, but
Sharon Stone is in this.
Yeah.
And I read, when I was looking up just bits and trivia about this movie, she refused to show more skin.
Oh.
Like, Verhoeven wanted her down, and
Yeah.
she was like, no. And then 2 years later, she filmed Basic Instinct with him. So there you go.
Have a nice day.
hey, good for her. Yeah. I mean, yeah. So Verhoeven loves his violence. He's a great man. They don't make movies like this anymore. Because I was watching the 2012 one, and Kate Beckinsale is trying to kill Colin Farrell, and she's running and she's shooting, and he's like jumping down, and I think there's some guy who like, oh, I got shot.
Oh, yeah.
He falls over
and there's no blood.
It's a PG-13 movie.
Yeah. They don't make R anymore.
No,
Rarely.
Yeah, and I mean, that's a decade old now in itself. It's just like Paul Verhoeven's squibs don't exist in the world anymore. That's just too graphic.
We're never going to get another Kenny again. He just goes all in on the violence, and maybe this says something about me, and I'm just secretly a monster, but it's glorious.
He loves his worlds of brutality. He has no regard for human life, and that adds a layer of danger to the films. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's not that we're just gore hounds, because I really don't like gore. I don't like movies where people get like, you know, women are being stabbed.
You're not a huge Friday the 13th fan?
I don't like gory movies. It has a lot of gore in it. Someone's guts fall. I don't like that stuff. But I love the, like, when Arnold has to, one of my favorite scenes in the movie, when Arnold's friend Fred Flintstone, he's working on the bedrock with Fred Flintstone, right? And he's like,
fun fact. Originally, he was going to be an office worker, but the second you cast Arnold Schwarzenegger, that's not going to fly.
No.
He's a construction worker now.
So he operates a jackhammer. But his friend's like, hey, did you go to recall? Come with me. Me and my couple buddies, you know, we're going to take you around this corridor, and we're going to try to kill you. And Arnold murders them all. And then I also love the scene where Arnold and Melina are being forcibly put in the recall chairs, and Arnold escapes by breaking out the thing, and he just stabs the guy in the neck. He murders every doctor in the room in the most brutal and grotesque way. There is no like, I'm punching them to knock them out. Okay, Melina, tie them up. They're just people that work in this doctor's office. They're just doing that. No, he just fucking kills everyone there.
He has the instincts of a cold-blooded secret operative.
Right.
That kind of violent monster is just, it's in his subconscious, Mike.
I know, yes, but we're going to circle back to the idea of your interpretation of is he really just a regular guy who went into recall and got these. He really wanted to go to Mars. Maybe it's his dream. He wanted the Mars package, and then he had a schizoid embolism, and he's really just sitting in the chair. Because remember, the technician goes, "Oh, blue sky on Mars."
Ernie,
That's a new one. Blue sky on Mars.
been married long?
8 years.
That's the thing, because I really want to analyze whether or not this movie is a dream or it could be reality. And in that opening office scene, they explain the entire fucking plot that's going to happen.
Yeah.
You are a top operative, back under deep cover on your most important mission. People are trying to kill you left and right. You meet this beautiful, exotic woman.
He picks out the kind of woman he likes, which is interesting because he doesn't choose a blonde. He's married to a blonde, and he doesn't want that. He wants a brunette, and he picks the exact measurements and personality of Melina, and then they actually show her face. That's
her
a big clue.
Face, not just like someone who vaguely looks like her. It is fucking her.
Yes. The counterpoint to that is that he actually has a dream where he really sees her.
Yeah, but he didn't describe a photorealistic vision of her to the technicians who put that in the screen.
So is he a real spy that Cohagen wiped his memory and is using him as a pawn to basically sniff out Quado, unwillingly, unknowingly, find the resistance on Mars, right? Is it a real story that's happening, or is it all in his head? And I think it's all in his head.
It has to be.
Because the people who wrote the program for the super spy story got the science all wrong.
They also left in plot holes.
The alien.
And here's the brilliance of it, though.
Yeah,
Any plot hole you find in this movie, instantly explained away. Oh, it's part of the thing that they wrote wrong.
Well, yeah.
When they put it in his head.
And that's what I'm talking about, the plot hole. I never really thought about it, but the end is, well, first, this may be because of the time it was made, but Mars is all wrong, right? Mars isn't literally red on the planet. I mean, it has iron oxide rust so it appears red to us. When you're on Mars, it kind of looks like the desert, and the sky isn't red. Nothing. It's not just totally red on Mars, right?
I know Mars has an atmosphere.
It's a thin atmosphere.
It's very thin. I've heard you could be in 600 mile per hour wind on Mars, and it wouldn't even come close to blowing you over.
But what is the concentration of the air? Can you breathe it?
No.
But also, the alien device where these hot rods of something really hot melt. Arnold says the entire core of Mars is made of ice.
See down there? It's a glacier. The whole core of Mars is ice. The reactor melts it, and it releases the oxygen.
So when the rods melt the ice, it releases air.
The core probably isn't ice.
The core probably isn't ice, but air is not ice. Air is mostly made of nitrogen, a little bit of oxygen, mostly nitrogen and oxygen. Water is hydrogen and oxygen. So if you melt ice, water vapor comes out, which you can't breathe unless you're a fish.
You know what?
So the technicians that wrote the storyline for the spy thriller didn't know what they didn't know what they were doing. So none of that makes sense, and the atmosphere wouldn't just become a blue sky in 5 seconds.
I'm coming at this from a slightly different perspective.
All right.
The fictional story that the technicians wrote, Cohagen's plot doesn't make much sense to me. The plot is to get a double agent past the psychic rebels, because the rebels, they have psychic powers, and if somebody says, "Yeah, no, I'm with you guys," the psychic will be like, "No, you're not," unless they erase his memory, and then you can get a secret agent in there.
Yeah, but Benny got past him.
Why bother bringing him to Earth, though? What sense does erasing Hauser's memory and bringing him to Earth do?
So Hauser could have been a bartender at the last
He could have been a bartender at the last resort with no memory, and that would have been much simpler.
That's true, yeah. To make it a spy adventure.
To make it a spy adventure, because you're writing a fictional. The technicians of Total Recall are writing a fictional adventure.
Mm-hmm. Why have him remove the tracking device in his nose?
Yeah, and since it's a Total Recall implant gone wrong, why would Cohagen do the weird? What's his name? Character has a name. The Total Recall guy in the commercial. Why would Cohagen bother with that when the plan seems to be kind of working?
Yeah, he's leading him to the rebels.
He's leading them. He's already leading them to the rebels.
Because clearly that pill will kill him.
Or even just knock him out, but Cohagen wouldn't want that. Yeah. Cohagen wants Arnold Schwarzenegger to be with Melina and to take him to Quato.
But I wanted to bring up a little point. He offers Quaid a pill that will bring, if he swallows it, it'll bring him back into reality. It is a red pill.
Yeah, this has to have inspired that, right?
The Wachowskis
Yeah.
And the Matrix, perhaps.
I'm fine with this. It's a good thing to take inspiration from, Total Recall.
Sure.
So sadly, I have to conclude that Arnold Schwarzenegger dies at the end of Total Recall. We fade to white. He's dead in a memory booth on Earth.
He gets lobotomized.
He gets lobotomized.
Yes.
It's sad.
Yeah.
It's brilliant that the movie lets you read it whatever way you want. You get, if you're a snooty art fucker,
yeah.
you get to watch this. You get to watch this. Yes, that's brilliant. He's dead. I love it. And if you just want a fun action movie, you're like, yeah, Arnold Schwarzenegger kicked ass and saved the day. You get to have your cake and eat it too with Total Recall. I like the ending.
Bullshit.
Your mind. It is the center of your life.
I really like the teaser trailer.
It is everything you
For Total Recall?
Yeah. They made a teaser trailer that feels like a classic 80s science fiction novel cover. It's just Arnold Schwarzenegger's semi-transparent head in space, lit on blue on one side and red on the other, and he just turns his head and he looks down at a red landscape of Mars, and they just zoom in on a black pyramid and there's two moons floating around. It does nothing to say that it's an action movie.
Okay. I have not seen that.
I actually really like it.
Okay.
And I know Arnold Schwarzenegger hated it. And so he wanted them to cut a trailer that showed off the action scenes, which, financially was probably the right move. But
sure. I love in the beginning, Arnold's watching TV. He's making his smoothie, his protein smoothie, with his mixer, and the news is on. They're like, another day of extreme violence on Mars. The rebels attacked the blah, 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 and they show people being shot. The very next line is, honey, let's move to Mars. Oh my God, this is our hero. And then he's doing the jackhammering with his friend, and he's like, hey, Bob, Fred Flintstone, what do you think about Recall? He's like, oh, my friend went to Recall. He got lobotomized. And Arnold goes, cut to, Arnold's walking into the Recall clinic.
he's not the brightest person. I don't want to call this a problem. Just kind of a thought I've had, an issue, something nagging at the back of my mind in this movie. I can't buy Arnold Schwarzenegger as anything other than a larger-than-life action hero. Mm-hmm. I have always wondered what this movie would be like if you just cast the lead as just get more of an everyman actor, like a Richard Dreyfuss, and it's more plausible that he's just a schlub with implanted memories.
Yeah,
it would be a very different movie.
Yeah, well, then you would be more likely to believe the "it's all a dream."
Yeah.
If if he was just some kind of computer nerd who worked in a cubicle, as opposed to a big, strong. He is Cohagen's right-hand muscle man spy. So would a Colin Farrell work?
See, when they made the Total Recall reboot, that's the reason I was actually excited. Not that I hate the original Total Recall. It's just like, oh, I finally get to see what this would be like if there was just somebody more average as the lead. And then I got that, and I was like, oh, this kind of sucks.
That movie. Let's really quickly visit Total Recall 2012.
Yeah.
Because I watched it. I didn't hate it. It's utterly
okay.
okay. I had issue with the casting. Kate Beckinsale and Jessica Biel both look similar. They're both brunettes. You know what I mean? They like.
What are you talking about?
You need that contrast, like Melina and Sharon Stone.
Right. Very
different looking. And so an interesting note was that the Jessica Biel part, Kate Beckinsale is his fake wife. She's the Sharon Stone character.
Yeah.
Which they merged Sharon Stone and Michael Ironside into one character.
That kind of ruins the character, too, because I understand why Michael Ironside has a hard-on to kill Arnold Schwarzenegger, because Arnold has been banging his girl, thinking that, she was his wife for 6 weeks. And that's why he really wants to murder Arnold Schwarzenegger. I have no idea why Kate Beckinsale I have no idea why Kate Beckinsale has such a hard-on to kill Colin Farrell in the reboot.
She's a bad guy who works for Bryan Cranston.
That's stupid.
Bryan Cranston is Cohagen, and he's bad guy. Also, if Sharon Stone gets bumped off rather quickly in Total Recall 1990, Kate Beckinsale gets merged with Michael Ironside so she can continue on throughout the entire film. Do you know why?
Why?
Because her husband is the director.
Ah!
A guy named Len Wiseman, who directed all those Underworld movies starring Kate Beckinsale. Len Wiseman, strangely enough, kind of looks like Colin Farrell in real life.
Interesting.
So it was, I'm going to make my wife star in this movie. They've since been divorced. But the Jessica Biel character, the Resistance girl, was originally supposed to be played by Scarlett Johansson, a blonde, which would have made sense. But Scarlett Johansson had a prior commitment. It was called The Avengers, and she didn't want to break that commitment.
She made the right choice.
I would say she made the right choice. But yeah, I don't know. I was happy. I like Bryan Cranston. I was happy to see him in the film. He's not a good Cohagen. He is no Ronnie Cox. Can I talk real quick?
Please talk about Ronnie Cox.
Well, can I talk about 3 of the greatest movie/TV villains ever appear in Total Recall? And I don't know if you noticed this. We, of course, have Michael Ironside.
I know exactly who you're going to bring up.
Yes, you do, because you're Rich Evans. We got Michael Ironside, we got Ronnie Cox, some of Paul Verhoeven's favorites, and we also got the guy who plays Gul Dukat as the top lieutenant in the Mars Space Police.
He's basically just in one scene, right?
He's in a bunch of scenes.
Is he in a bunch?
Yeah. He's always walking up to Michael Ironside going, Sir, we got to blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
It's a small role, but his name's Mark.
Didn't notice him at the time because he wasn't fucking Gul Dukat yet, but...
Yes, yes, but, ooh, the trifecta. The trifecta of the meanest, ugliest men who have ever lived.
I'm afraid it's time to erase those memories for good.
And then you have Bryan Cranston in the remake, and Bryan Cranston, he's
too as dry as the Total Recall reboot is. Bryan Cranston is hamming it up too much compared to everyone else in that movie.
Yeah.
Whereas, just in the tone of original Total Recall, Ronnie Cox, his over-the-top villain fits right in with the over-the-top feel of the rest of the movie.
Yes. Fun fact, you never watched Breaking Bad, right?
I know a little bit about it, but I never watched it.
Well, I discovered Dean Norris, who was a major character in Breaking Bad, was the man with the deformed vagina face.
Oh, yeah.
One of the mutants, and he was in Breaking Bad. In the 1990 Total Recall, Bryan Cranston was in the 2012. Little bit of a connection.
It's crowded visually, that movie, I would say.
I mean, that's the story, is that they're running out of living space, which is why Cohaagen wants to invade the colony and kill everyone and rebuild buildings.
He wants more room for the Britain Empire to expand.
Yes.
And so he's going to kill everyone down south to do it.
Yeah.
It's very, very almost unnecessarily evil.
Yeah, Cohaagen just wanted to sell air and make a lot of money, but other Cohaagen, Bryan Cranston Cohaagen, wanted to kill everyone, and there were lots of Asian people. Originally, the colony was supposed to be called New Asia.
Well, the culture in that part of the movie is very Asian.
Yeah, it's a very Blade Runner-y Asian.
Yeah.
You know, there's lots of that kind of culture down there, because if you figure the whole world is covered in toxic gas, where does Asia run to? Down to Australia. So
I also noticed in the reboot, a lot of the cities they're in the Australian side seem to be like built over water. So I'm assuming the implication is they ran out of room on the land and they're actually building out into the sea.
They show a graphic that where the population is, and I think they're mostly along the coast.
Yeah.
And then same with England. It doesn't matter. The point is, the fall is a giant thing that shoots through the center of the Earth. Mm-hmm. Halfway through, it has a gravity flip. It's silly.
It's cute.
But it makes for a great set piece at the end. Obviously, they're going to have a fight on it, and halfway through, they're going to float around in 0 Gs and shoot guns. And
you want to nitpick about science? The whole way down, they should basically be in free fall. That's like when you're on a roller coaster or something. You're in a ride in an amusement park that drops down. You're technically in 0 G on the way down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So as they're falling towards the center, they should be like floating the whole way, kind of like the vomit comet.
Yeah, I really don't know that much about planetary gravity once you start going towards the core of the planet.
don't know about towards the core, but I know falling, they shouldn't be like sitting down once they start falling at terminal velocity. They should all be floating. But whatever. It should be very similar to being in orbit.
Yeah. Logically, I know the center of the Earth is a giant ball of iron that is surrounded, that is constantly spinning, which is what generates the electromagnetic field that protects us from the sun.
Your tunnel would fucking melt. It doesn't make any sense.
It has Star Trek shields around it.
And the reboot is too dry for that to work. It's so dry that when you start doing the silly stuff, like we're drilling a coal through the Earth, that starts to fall apart. Like everything else is so dry. How can you do this cartoony thing now?
Yeah. What do you get out of that movie?
I like the hand cell phone. I thought, you know what? I thought that was a neat bit of technology.
Sure.
They just implant phones in your hand and their hands kind of glow. That was neat. Hello? Hello? Anyone there? Hello? Hello? Anyone there? Total Recall, is it like the last of the 80s action movies?
It is a transitionary film. We'll talk a little bit about the visuals, special effects, that sort of thing, because
I know for the time it had an insane budget. It's like $50 million.
it was a couple years before Jurassic Park when the CGI revolution changed everything. They had some CGI in this, which was the skeletons.
It predates T2 CGI by like a year or two, yeah.
Yeah, 91 or 92 is T2.
Yeah.
But yes, so CGI was in its infancy. They could do a couple things with the skeletons in the
X-ray.
The X-ray, but mostly it was models. And I was thinking about this too when I was watching it. I remember watching it for the first time and thinking that shot when they have Arnold on the train and he's talking to the guy with the beard. He's like, "What's that giant mountain?" And the guy's like, "That's the Mars Mountain. They found a bunch of alien shit in it. Cohagen blocked it off. I worked in that mine for 20 years. Now I just ride this train. Why is there a mountain there?" And then it cuts to the exterior and we see Arnold and that guy, and the camera pans back, and there's a live action Arnold, and he's in a little miniature, and the miniature's moving along.
Yeah.
And I was like, how did they do that? Future stuff, because I'm always fascinated by, movies like Back to the Future 2, Total Recall, movies like that where
you're trying to predict the future.
They're trying to predict the future, and some things they get really right, and some things they just dead wrong.
I wrote down in my notes the CRT phone is kind of quaint.
The video phone?
The video phone.
And
it's not like a smooth, flat, pull it out of your pocket type of phone. It's just a big, giant, clunky thing with like a little CRT monitor in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like their version of FaceTime, the video phone. But when he goes into the hotel and there's the big clunky phone, the video's on. A lot of people use the video phone in Total Recall.
Yeah.
And then he's look out the window. I'm on a payphone on the video phone. And
payphone. Yeah.
But the security skeletal scanner is very similar to the full body scan at the airport. You ever do that?
I've never done that because I rarely fly.
Where you go like this, right?
I've never done it. I haven't been to the airport in close to 20 years. I haven't been on a plane. What? I don't fly. I'm terrified. I am terrified of flying. Terrified.
Anyways, what, you're some kind of little kid?
Sure, fine. I'm not getting on a plane.
It's more dangerous for you to drive your car home than it is to get on an airplane.
I don't think you understand how phobias
You've been in like
work.
15 car accidents. I'm not going to get into this conversation with Sharon Stone. She's doing tennis with a hologram. Mm-hmm. They have an exercise mirror. It's a full body exercise mirror, and it's inside the mirror is a hologram of an instructor that you look at and tells you what to do.
I haven't seen that, but it's not even too far off from like the Nintendo Wii even.
And then in the 2012 version, I think they have a scene with the refrigerator, and he touches it, and it shows what's inside, and then he's like moving pictures around on it. And that's very similar to modern fridges. They have an LCD screen built in that's you put your hand on it and it's transparent. It shows what's in the fridge without opening it to save energy. And you can like have pictures up there. It's like a computer screen.
You're missing the best one though.
What's that?
Self-driving cars.
Oh.
Johnny Cab.
The Johnny Cab.
Obviously the Google cars aren't going to have like a comical animatronic robot in the cockpit, in the driver's seat.
Yeah.
But there's a self-driving car, Total Recall. That's gonna happen.
It is sort of happening now, but yeah, you're right. They won't be as cheap and ugly, and they won't look like little modified golf carts.
Oh, Johnny Cab. I just want to point out, Robert Picardo.
Robert Picardo is the voice of the Johnny Cab, and he also kind of looks like the Johnny Cab.
It's definitely modeled after his face.
But speaking of faces, another topic. Face prosthetics in this. From 1984 to 1990.
Two different Arnolds.
A giant.
Very different results.
Two different Arnolds, very different. A giant. One small step for mankind, one giant leap for rubber
Schwarzenegger's
faces.
face.
Yeah. Those faces are great. When he's pulling the thing out of his nose, compared to Terminator.
I love that you just see the glow through it too.
Yeah.
a needlessly brutal scene.
Yeah.
He just jams this thing that shoves a rod up into his head and pulls a ball the size of a golf ball out of his nose. Like, he could have just said, yeah, you gotta inject this thing out of your arm. But no, Paul Verhoeven's, no. He's gonna rip a golf ball out of his face.
Yeah. That's a memorable scene.
It is.
That's the thing is there are, that's the 2012 version. Oh, the things,
He does rip the phone out of his hand. It's not as cool.
yeah.
It's not ripping a golf ball, a glowing golf ball out of your nose.
No. And see, everybody remembers that scene.
You don't remember the guy who gets shot in the 2012 reboot that just falls over? You don't remember that?
No, but I do remember all those women getting shot in their when Michael Ironside and his little friend shoot up the Last Resort, I mean, that's fucking brutal.
Yeah.
It's fucking brutal.
Yeah.
The three-breasted lady comes down, want to have a good time? Nope. Mows her down in the back. The little lady, the little person with the machine gun, Thumbelina is her name. She jumps up on the bar. She's shooting everybody up. I mean, just so much needless death and violence. It's great.
Kill them all!
Here's a little scene. Paul Verhoeven. Not brutality, not violence, not sex, not gore. Memorable. You're talking about pulling the thing out of the nose. The guy's like, I'm going to leave the suitcase. You know, it's got the video phone in it, the money, whatever. You wrap a wet towel around your head to block the
signal. Yeah.
Another thing too. God, I got so much to talk about.
No, this is great.
He says to Arnold, this is third Arnold's dumb thing I'd like to point out. He says, he's like, you've been bugged. You've been bugged. And Arnold's like, where's the bug at? And he's like, it's in your skull. Arnold looks at the mirror. You're not going to see it. It's in your skull. I guess it's instinct, but whatever. Anyway, so the guy's like, I'm going to leave this briefcase down by the payphone. Come down and get it. Arnold runs down. There's a homeless old lady, grabs it. This is mine, ma'am. He's still kind of polite to her, but she won't let go. And he's just, I need it. And he rips it out of her hand. She goes,
Fuck you, you asshole!
and then he little touch.
Why is that scene there? It's fun, that's why.
He could have just walked down and picked it up.
Yeah.
Or the guy could have left it outside the door. Knock, knock. There's a briefcase outside of your door. I've run away and left it there. Open your door and get it, you know. But instead we have a cute little moment where Arnold's kind of polite to an old lady, makes him a little likable. He won't take no for an answer. He's got to get that briefcase. He rips it out of her hands.
You're thinking of the reboot, which has none of those touches.
I know. That's what I'm saying, is the genius of Paul Verhoeven versus Len Wiseman.
Something I want to bring up, it's just a small thing. It's a little touch I want to bring up just because I'm going to forget to bring it up otherwise. Little thing I like, when he goes to the Last Resort and he gets a security deposit box and apparently he wrote himself a note. I love that he checks the handwriting. He writes Melina's name. That's my handwriting. I left this for myself. I thought it's subtle, but brilliant. They didn't have to do that.
No. You'd probably recognize your own handwriting, but it's for the audience's benefit.
Yeah.
This is a prediction that has yet to come true. One that I think will eventually happen. The video phone, they fucked up, right? They didn't predict that everyone would have.
It wasn't advanced enough.
It wasn't advanced enough. It was sort of right. Video, obviously, the video phone has been around. The idea of it has been around long before Total Recall. But no one predicted a handheld phone that fits in your pocket that does all sorts of stuff like video calls, right? No one predicted that in 1990. What they did predict, which has not come true yet, but I predict will, is, and Back to the Future 2 also did this too.
Okay.
TVs. TV on the wall.
Oh, yeah.
This, in the beginning, when Arnold wakes up, he comes out to have breakfast, and the room is filled with panels on the wall. One panel is the news. and it's, you know, talking about the Mars uprising and whatnot. And then Sharon Stone comes in and goes, "Stop watching that trash." And then she hits a button, and then the three panels then appear to show a serenic view, right? So TVs now, once were giant, square, heavy things, have now become thinner and thinner and thinner, are now mounted on walls.
And Total Recall, it's just the whole wall.
TVs this thin, right?
You just have a wall TV.
Flexi material that you attach to your wall. You can literally just watch a TV anywhere in your house, right? Boom, have three next to each other. I want to watch the football game.
So you can watch his cartoons.
Yeah. One's over here, one's over here. Let's make this wall, you know, looking outside of a beautiful mountain scene, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You'll have one in front of like comfortable furniture, of course, but then the screens change to look like the wall that it's on, and it's virtually indistinguishable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What do you want?
This is going to be very difficult for you to accept, Mr. Quaid.
I'm listening.
I'm afraid you're not really standing here right now.
The one thing I'll complain about the original is,
Who gives a shit what you believe?
should the question about whether it's real or not, should that have come back more at the final confrontation with Cohagen? Should that have been referenced again? Because after the recall guy shows up and gets shot in the head, we kind of forget about that completely, and it's just an action movie. Could they have done something more with that? Because I don't even know what they could have done.
If they did more with it, would it tip their hand?
Maybe.
Like something like glitches up.
Yeah, I don't know.
Then
something.
you're like, oh, it's a dream.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think there's just enough clues to keep it ambiguous. But as a movie, it has some flaws.
Great.
It's a fun movie. The sets, the inventiveness. We didn't talk about the 2 weeks lady.
2 weeks, and that absolutely believable mask where like a giant rod would be in Arnold Schwarzenegger's head if it were real.
Yeah.
You know, that always bothered me.
Yeah.
Like when the ear comes out, there's like a foot-long rod that would be directly in Arnold Schwarzenegger's skull.
Maybe it.
Maybe.
You know, like those plastic lightsabers, you know.
Okay.
Maybe that. But the face looks great. And them suffocating on Mars, all those face appliances.
That shit's
look
not
great.
CG.
No, those are some really good, convincing Arnold-looking rubber heads. All that stuff is great. The makeup effects, even the miniatures, they're great. Everything's great, and it's a good action movie, obviously. And I wrote down all the set pieces. You know, the fist fight with the construction worker. And his friends, and they corner him. I had a joke. There is a little moment when he's beating them up, and they're supposed to be in a concrete corridor, and he throws a guy against the wall, and the wall moves.
I think, you know what? I believe Arnold's just that strong.
Okay. And then when the guy shows up with the red pill, and Sharon Stone shows up, "I'm your wife. Take the red pill." You know, Doug. There's a shot with the mirror, and you see all the like camera lights and cables and stuff. There's a couple little mistakes, but
Total Recall didn't get the fantasy just right.
They wanted to make him think he's in a movie too.
It's fine.
But yeah, he comes home. He fights with Sharon Stone's exercising. He gets in the fight with her, which ensues the chase with Richter on the escalator. That whole set piece, the fight when he arrives on Mars with the 2 weeks lady.
Blow the fucking window out.
The window blows open. People are flying out.
The hologram shit at the end is all fun.
Yes, the shootout in the alien reactor with all those poles, like great.
I have
the digging machine too. All that's kind of like, that reminds me of like Indiana Jones, like those kind of like, he's digging and they're being pushed into the rocks and he's got the thing and he's.
I read that Arnold Schwarzenegger specifically requested that all of his kills be more creative because Commando was just him shooting guns at people for 2 hours. And it's like, I'm getting criticized because I just shoot the guns.
Oh, okay.
Give me some more creative things to do. And they did.
They did it.
I've heard that scene had to be edited because the movie almost got an X rating. With Benny getting like the drill shoved through him.
Oh, yeah.
So there's footage somewhere of excessive gore.
You know, it reminds me of Indiana Jones because they're.
Which scene? Yes.
It's just that like when Indiana Jones is fighting the tank, and or raiders when he's down in the snake pit, and he's got to knock that pole knocks over and busts open the wall, and that's how he finds his escape route. Remember when they throw him down in the snake pit?
Yeah.
Vinny's digging machine busts through the wall, and that's how he gets into the alien. You know, it was more like less science fiction-y and more.
It was better than just running around with a gun. I wish he made more science fiction movies.
Yeah, he just released a movie about lesbian nuns.
Yeah, because he's an art guy. I think at heart. I think when he made his RoboCop, Total Recall, Starship Troopers trilogy, I think in his head he was doing that ironically. It's like, I'm gonna make some fucking Hollywood schlock. I'm gonna make fun of it. He was a hipster ahead of its time.
Think so?
Yeah.
Do you think he's making these movies with a little wink?
Yeah, those movies, yes. This is garbage, and I'm gonna satirize it. And he accidentally made awesome popcorn science fiction films.
God bless him. But at least we could still watch the 2012 version.
I can't wait for the forgettable 2024 version.
Wait, let me tell you something.
Oh yeah.
I have to go. I'll be right back.
Okay.
I want to show you something.
Oh, okay. Should I wait here?
Yes.
Okay.
So I bought this for our review. You know, now it's in my collection forever. But I looked on the back, and here's their review quote.
Better than the original. Andrew Freud? MySpace? This is just some guy on MySpace.
Andrew Freund, MySpace. So if you haven't ever watched the 1990 Total Recall,
It's a treat. It's a treat.
It's a treat.